So, I don't know if we should say something like, welcome to the inaugural. We don't even have a name for this. Whatever it is that we're doing.
We'll come up. Oh, yeah. We do need like a snazzy name. We'll figure it out later. It'll be a branding in progress.
Yes. For now, it's the untitled, super secret comic book syndicate side project.
Yes. Featuring G.I. Jolie and Harvey Brent.
Is that the one you want to... Is that the one we're landing on?
I prefer Harvey Brent because it's twofold. It's a play on Harvey Dent, but also it kind of is like a callback to like Harvey from the Archie comics Sabrina. You know what I mean? It's just like a little shout out considering they got canceled and that was rude. So I think we should go with Harvey Brent.
I like you too. Yeah. Honestly, Harvey is like my fave. Anyway,
He's lovely,
sorry.
yeah.
I was like, so now I'm thinking about Sabrina comics. Honestly, like, now this has just turned into a Sabrina the Teenage Witch podcast. But I'm like, what did you think of Harvey, the guy who played Harvey in the Melissa Joan Hart series?
Too hetero. No, it's just like, yeah, it was too white bread. Like, I like society's definition of a male these days, where they have like more nuance to them. You know what I mean? You can see that in the new Harvey. We like our Gen Zers.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Oh, let's Wanda this one out. Oh my god. Yep. Okay. One, the shit she's doing now is scary. Oh, two, we're swearing. Let's not.
No swearing. Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Let's try not to. And if we happen to, we'll mark it as explicit. Okay.
Got it.
Okay, so the plan for this thing is we're going to take it episode by episode. So we've already done episodes 1 and 2 since they've dropped at the same time with Mike Owl. Now myself and Harvey Brent are going to deep dive into episode 3. We're going to let you know what it's about. Maybe, do you know what? Absolutely, we're giving you spoilers. So this is your like final warning to shut the video off or to hit pause or watch later if you don't like spoilers, because we can't be held responsible for anything that happens in Spoilerland, because we need to talk about them in order to talk this out.
There's a lot to get through.
Yes. So my rambling about spoilers and turning this off for the last minute should have given you ample warning that from now on you'll be spoiled and upset if you continue to listen. So we're going to start with episode 3, called Now in Color. I don't know. You want to do a plot summary? Should I do a plot summary?
I think you rewatched it, so I think you probably have a better handle on it. I go with you.
Okay, cool. So the plot of this one is, the last episode, we were kind of left with Wanda and Vision are now in color. Hence the name of the episode. And we find out that Wanda is pregnant, which shouldn't be happening because the Vision is a synthezoid, and I mean, not to say he can't have children. It's not possible. So that sort of gives us another clue as to what's happening maybe behind the scenes. So in the whole episode, like kind of to go along with the whole television theme, I don't know what it's based on or what the inspiration is for the episode itself, but it's sort of like a sitcom where the contractions that cause like absolute chaos inside the home. Pipes explode, the electricity goes haywire, and it's a vehicle for comedy. And there's like a laugh track, and it even has that like 70s feel to it.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, there's just the spinning paintings on the wall, and everything feels very hokey dokey kind of, you know. It's giving you those cheap special effects again, keeping in line with the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sort of the set sort of has taken on like this Brady Bunch, family room sort of feel. Am I mistaken? But did the family room change?
Oh
to
boy,
sort of match.
Think aspects of it definitely did. I think the general structure stayed the same, but definitely the interior there were some changes I've noticed.
And like even it feels great, like the color and the way that it's shot, even though it's not shot on film. Come on, that's crazy. It has like this Technicolor film feel, which everything in the 70s had. Even the shots were very much like 70s. So anyway, okay, so we're going through some issues, but progressively Wanda's belly, because she's pregnant, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they can't explain it. But Vision uses his big vision brain to calculate that she will probably give birth Thursday, which is like tomorrow in their time. So he runs and goes to find the doctor.
Which we should definitely touch on later, just about the whole situation surrounding that, because I have a lot to say about him finding the doctor. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, and I have a lot to hear about it. So, so Geraldine / we find out Monica Rambeau pops by for a visit, and they get to talking, and Wanda, like all of the town folks, she confides in Geraldine, just like. The shots change, and there's a moment where Wanda says her brother's name in her Sokovian accent, and as if she's Wanda again and not Wanda on a 70s television show. And Geraldine, who we find out in episode 4, we'll find out in episode 4 why she's able to see the subtle difference in Scarlet Witch's demeanor. She sees that and goes, "Oh, Pietro, your brother, who is killed by Ultron." And this causes like a complete shift in demeanor and personality for Wanda.
The gossip in this town, Jesus. Word travels far in Westview. Oh my goodness. Oh, your brother died by Ultron, right? Like, way to drop a bomb.
Yeah, she's like, "What did you say?" And I was like, "Wait a second." Yeah. I was like, wait. Oh my God, this is like Wanda. This is like lethal Wanda. So she gets lethal Wanda face, and and all of the videos I watched described it as her yeeting Monica like the F out of their little Westview universe. And I was like, okay, I hate that word, but I like it here.
It worked, yeah. And we don't see it happen in episode 3. It's just merely implied. But then episode 4 gives us said yeet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exposes the yeet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, because I watched them both I rewatched them both at the same time. I'm starting to like, I mixed the 2 episodes together. So we see her say something like she kind of snaps and is like, "No, you don't belong here. What did you say? Wait a second. You just like," she knows suddenly that Monica is not part of the reality, and we don't know why.
No.
We find out why, but we don't know why. And then it cuts to Vision coming through the door. And in the scariest S I've ever seen, it's like Vision, like dead Vision.
Yeah, 2018 Vision just met Thanos version, like ran across the wrong guy.
Like Mind Stone out, hole in head, like pale purple, not bright purple, and it was like. It was scary. Like I double taked, Wanda double taked, and then suddenly it snaps back to reality.
Right.
Wanda's like the reality of the television show, and Vision is back to normal. And I believe that's where the episode ends. Other than you see Monica lying on the ground in the grass, and she's like still wearing her 70s outfit, but she has been ejected. And that's kind of, and you see like lights and tents, and it looks like some kind of compound has been erected, and that's where that's where it ends. And I'm like, where do we start?
Yeah.
Where do we start?
Well, I feel like episode 3 ended on like the perfect, I don't know if I want to call it a cliffhanger, but it definitely, it told in the episode that, look, we're about to really unravel this mystery. Like you all of a sudden know now, not that you didn't before if you were not an idiot, but you knew that there was something going on, right? And so that's like, you finally get that first glance at it by the end of episode 3. And that's, I think that was the real savoring point of this episode, was like, okay, we're expanding the perspective now of what's actually going on. We're going to see some external perspectives possibly in future episodes, which we'll get to in episode 4, but that's the end of episode 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just read the line, insert topical gender reveal party.
Oh, that was me. Sorry. Yeah. So I just wanted to thank Disney Corporation and Marvel for not including a gender reveal party as Wanda became increasingly pregnant. In fact, actually didn't even bring attention to the sexes of the baby, not genders, until they were born. Maybe that's the social justice warrior in me. Maybe that's going to alienate some viewers. All I'm saying is I like that they did not pay much attention to anything about that. Ooh, wait, you know what? You're going to have to cut that out. I think they did, because they were talking about boy names before, which is highly sexist, and now my entire narrative of what we're trying to talk about is screwed up, because they talked about Tommy versus Billy. And
yeah, and what they would name the child if it was a girl. And you know what? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? I'm going to name my girl Tommy.
Yeah. Why? Oh no, sorry. I immediately, when you're like, I'll name my girl Tommy, I was like, oh, the only Tommy who's a girl I know is that evil twit Tommy Laren.
Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe she's not a great example for female Tommies. Actually, I wouldn't. Let's take it back. Let's take it back.
Yeah. Billy is a good one. I mean, we got Billy Piper.
Billy Lord.
Billy Piper. Oh, okay.
Billy Lord. We love Billy.
We love a Billy.
Yeah.
We love a Billy. Okay. So now that we've kind of gone through like what the actual episode is about, there's so much I hate to say or use these words because it makes me sound like highfalutin. But like there's so much that needs to be unpacked. Not really. Nothing needs to be unpacked. But it all needs to be talked about.
It needs to be contextualized.
Yeah. There's like a lot of like weird occurrences that like skimming through the plot doesn't bring up. You have Agnes who's outside with the neighbor who's sawing through the brick fence
while smiling, while holding his stare, like just and the whole time it seems as though he wants to tell Vision what they're up to or who they are. He's like, and Agnes is like, no, say nothing. And then it kind of, she cuts it off, and it's like, that was very unsettling for me. It takes you out for a moment. Yeah, it takes you again. It teases you to that place that this is not a sitcom, which obviously we know. But it takes you out and says like there's something going on here. Agnes seems to be the window for that a lot. She seems to bring a lot of that, just that nuance to the show, that there's more going on here than what's being told to us, right, as a viewer. We still don't know a lot about her. Like, the only scene she had in episode 3 was her interaction with the neighbor, and then Vision coming up and catching them gossiping. There's even by the end of episode 4, which again we'll get into later on, but you don't know a lot about Agnes. She's a wild card still, and I think that's probably, to me, the most interesting question that I want answered going forward, because I don't think Agnes, from gathering from episode 3, I don't think she's a sword agent. I don't think she's a shield agent. I think she's something else. Whether she's good or bad, I don't know. Whether she's human or inhuman or something else otherworldly, I also don't know. But there's something big about her. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, and even because she seems to want to play along more than the people in the town. So the neighbor, who's a good friend of Vision now, who seems to want to tell him very much what is going on. Like, she's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we're not anything. Like, we're not anything. Like, it's so cool. It's at the heart of a mystery, and I don't know what the mystery is.
Yeah.
And I like need to know what this mystery is. But first, but also it's like, what else is like happening? How does this mystery and what I speculated to be, how is this related to what I think is going on with like Wanda and Vision? Because it's because like I know who Monica Rambeau is, so I'm trying to like place it in a timeline and I don't know where it is. And I'm still, now that we've seen Vision with his head blown out, now I'm beginning to think this is like post like it's in the post Thanos world.
Yeah, totally.
Or what did they call it? They called it the blip. Oh my god.
I'm not a fan of the blip term, but I also to be fair, in their defense, if you were living in that world, how would you know that was accomplished with a snap? You know what I mean? That's only something that we're privy to as an audience, and that's at Thanos and the Avengers are privy to, is that it was accomplished with a snap. The rest of the world would be like, whoa, let's go. Like, they don't know.
Yeah, right? Oh god, that'd be so crazy.
They could have used a more nefarious term though than the blip, something to really like drive home the severity of it. You know what I mean? The blip sounds cartoony.
So what did you find the strangest about what was happening?
So
if you found anything totally strange at all
about the episode in general?
Yeah,
I think one thing that really stood out to me, like perhaps the most important kind of like layered observation I noticed was, so Wanda is giving birth obviously throughout the episode. Her contractions are getting worse and worse. At the beginning of the episode, they're talking to her doctor, right, as she's pregnant, and then Wanda's contractions get worse, and so she sends Vision to go get the doctor. This is the hang up I have on it, or the thing I noticed was that when Vision goes and grabs the doctor before the doctor goes on vacation, Vision's using his super speed. He's going to pick up the doctor, he picks up the doctor and speeds off in full view of the doctor's wife, which is interesting to me because so far throughout episodes 1 and 2, they consciously hid their powers from people. Vision hides his appearance. And, Scarlet Witch is, hiding all the levitating dishes when they had Vision's boss over. So to me, it seemed very at odds with how the show is being written. And then I realized the actual TV show is written to fit Scarlet Witch's narrative. So the fact that Vision used his powers in front of other people, I bet you dollars to donuts in the next few episodes when they go back to this, if they come back to this this TV show, nobody's going to make a mention of that. The Doctor won't make a mention of Vision using his superpowers because that's what fits Scarlet Witch's narrative of what she wants to have as her own what's going on in her world that we've come to realize, especially by the end of episode 4, but it's teased a little bit in episode 3 that Scarlet Witch is doing this. So I think the way the show is written is to fit her narrative of what she needs in that time to further her life. In this case, Vision had to speed to go get the doctor. You know what I mean? And so the writing is catered to what Scarlet Witch needs. Yeah.
So, and it hasn't, no one has come out and said it, but I honestly, because at first you hear Agnes, in the first 2 episodes, one of the first episodes, Agnes says Dottie, who's played by Emma Caulfield, who is famous for being Anya in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Who we stand,
she says Dottie is at the root of everything that's happening. And I'm like, okay. And so I thought maybe someone is doing this, and we hear that voice on the radio implying that somebody is doing this to Wanda. I think that Wanda is doing this to herself.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Just through a little bit more reading, because to be quite honest, I didn't know, and the last time we discussed it, I didn't know much about Wanda and Vision, so I did a little reading about the comics, and in issue 12 of volume 2 of Vision and the Scarlet Witch, she does this. She manipulates reality to what she wants it to be. She knows that her and Vision can't have children, so she manipulates reality so that they can have children, and they do have 2 twin boys, and the pregnancy is a result of a spell, which later it's broken.
Yeah.
But I guess the 2 the boys come back in reincarnated versions of the spell versions of themselves. I mean, it's a really, really like very abbreviated version of what actually happened, what I'm talking about.
Of course,
so
yeah.
Please don't crucify me, comic book neighborhood friends. But like in Young Avengers special number 1, they come back and they're Wiccan and Speed. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. This has roots, loosely based roots in the 1985 comic, which I think is like really cool. But also, there's like just reading more about it, there's underpinnings. It's like it's a result of a spell. A spell by who? Because Wanda is a witch.
She is.
Okay. And to tell you the truth, I'm just spitballing. I'm a little bit disappointed in the way that like maybe I'm disappointed in the way that Marvel is treating this character, because all I know is that her name is Scarlet Witch. Cool. Is she a real witch? Is she a mutant witch? Like, what kind of witch is she that she has mind, like reality bending powers, but also has like does she have power this great? Do we know that she does?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of crazy. If this is what's happening, if she's able to create her own reality, how freaking powerful is she? We know she blew up Sokovia.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, I think that's more maybe an off-screen problem we have with the MCU, but I don't even know if that's their fault. Like, when they brought Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver into the MCU, they couldn't use the term mutant. And that would have really helped kind of explain. I mean, I guess it doesn't really explain the witch part, but I mean, they couldn't really provide a very robust basis for how they got their powers, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. And now I think, now that we're in a very Wanda-focused arc, you know, we're starting to really, I think Marvel has had to really start to address those questions. And I hope by the end of season 1 of WandaVision that we will have more context into the origin of her powers, the extent of them, like you said, like how strong is she truly? I don't know. Like she has telekinesis, clearly. She can, you know, put an entire town under some sort of trance. So she has a serious, you know, breadth of powers that there needs to be some sort of way to anchor those into our understanding that, you know, the MCU has built. You know, we need to be able to contextualize that in terms of what's possible. Are they just going to flat out be like, oh yeah, she's a mutant? You know, like, what are they going to do?
Yeah. And like, and this is where the whole like outside of the universe where like the Sony and the Disney don't come together, but like, maybe they will, maybe they won't, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, what are the legalities of the fact that we can't say what she is, or that she's like the daughter of a very, very superpowered Omega level mutant, and he belongs to it, like his rights belong somewhere else. We can't talk about him. Like, how stupid is that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's gonna be some hurdles that they're gonna have to jump through, and I hope by the end of the season they explain that. But you're right, as of now, it's like, what's going on? You know, like they haven't really done Wanda justice in the MCU in terms of her origins. They just liked, for some reason, punish Wanda. She suffers a lot in the MCU, you know, through losing her brother, losing Vision, you know, all this stuff. So far she's been a bit of a tragic figure, I feel like, through the MCU.
Yeah, and if in fact what we are potentially speculating and what I suspect might be going on is happening, like, because she was very triggered by the death of her brother, like to the point where she destroyed human life, and entire parts of the earth. So the fact that she's lost her brother, lost her lover, is this in fact what we're seeing? Is this in fact a manifestation of like what she's capable of when she experiences grief? Is this her way of coping? And if this is a magical dream world that she has like envisioned for herself and Vision, what happens when like it gets taken away? Like I have noticed, and I kind of was like journaling about this, I guess, earlier in the day, is that I have noticed throughout the progression of these episodes that there are specific instances which correspond to the actual designated stages of grief. So like, so, you know, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
I think we're about a 1/3 or halfway through the stages of grief within Wanda's reality. So what I mean by that, and I apologize, this is a bit of a recap of earlier episodes, but there's several instances and examples of Wanda experiencing denial within this world. The most notable one being when the beekeeper came up from the sewer in episode 2, and Wanda and Vision are outside because they heard a noise. It was the beekeeper. And then Wanda's just like, no. No.
Yeah, and then she like just magics that shit away.
If that's not denial, I don't know what is. You know, like that is denial. And there's a couple other examples of it too. But then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, when she's talking to Dottie, and Dottie is maybe under a spell, but she's like, I don't trust you. I don't trust what's happening. And it rewinds. Like, we don't know if Wanda did anything. Like, we are able to hear the radio at that point, and we hear that voice come over the radio, and then suddenly it snaps back, and they're talking about dinner parties again.
Yeah.
And bake sales. And it's like, we are not told that Wanda is the one that manipulated that back to what it is. But now, having seen episode 3, it's like, oh no, she totally did that.
Yep. So these are active examples of denial, I feel like. And then, I mean, anger which is the second stage of grief. We saw again in terms of Miss Monica Rambeau, Geraldine, being like, didn't Ultron kill your brother? And then Scarlet Witch is like, what did you say? And then yeeted her. Yeeted is a form of anger. It's a physical manifestation of anger.
Yeeted. Physical.
So I feel like going forward, we're going to be seeing, maybe in the next few episodes, maybe we've already seen bargaining as the third stage of grief in terms of her giving birth to these twins. Maybe that's her version of bargaining, of reestablishing that twin dynamic that she no longer has with Pietro because Pietro is dead. Perhaps having twins is her way of bargaining. We don't know yet, but I would not be surprised if we saw some more vocal examples of bargaining going forward, and then eventually depression, which is the 4th stage, and finally acceptance, which is the 5th stage. I would not be surprised if that is the eventual arc for the character, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
And with that, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see. We're going to talk about episode 4 soon, so oh god, I can't wait.
It's a great show. Like, by the end of episode 3, I was salivating. I was like, what is going on? I mean, I kind of know, but I don't. And like, I want answers. I want more people from the MCU to jump in and really like become the connective tissue to this story. So yeah, it's been awesome.
So yeah, for anyone who's still watching, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Add a comment in the comment section down below somewhere. I don't know where you're watching this. Maybe it's on Facebook, maybe it's on YouTube, maybe you're in outer space. I don't know. Leave us a comment. Write us some hate mail at comicbooksyndicate.com. And you know what? It doesn't matter what you do. We're going to keep talking about these shows. So until next time, I have been G.I. Jolie.
Harvey Brent. The point. You can't...
And that's so hetero of you.
Let's not insult me now. Sorry.
But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be talking about episode 4, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, take care.